Welcome to the beautiful Lake Como, one of the most famous and popular lakes in the world. While you can take boat tours, a cost-effective way to still take in the breathtaking views of the lake and visit the charming lakeside villages is to take the Lake Como ferries. We were staying in Varenna, so we purchased a middle lake pass, which allowed us to travel all day to any of the points shown here in the middle of the lake. The ticket was just €15 per person. We were mostly interested in enjoying the ride and views on the lake, and visiting the famous town of Bellagio. The ferries ran about every hour, and the one we took stopped at the village of Menaggio before getting to Bellagio. This route is one of the most scenic and convenient ways to travel on the lake. After lining up to wait for about 15 minutes, the ferry arrived and we were allowed to walk on. As the third largest lake in Italy, Lake Como has been a popular getaway since Roman times, and getting around was always important. It started with steamships back in the 1800s. Then, after the war, transport was modernized to everything from car ferries to hydrofoil. Today, the ferry service is part of the Navigazione Lago di Como network, which operates a range of ferries and boats connecting the towns around the lake. Here, you can see the ferry leaving the port of Varenna, where we stayed during our time at Lake Como. Varenna, located on the eastern shore of the lake, combines stunning scenery with a rich history dating back to the Roman era. Established as a fishing village, it has preserved its authentic Italian character through the centuries. A unique feature of Varenna is Villa Monastero, originally a convent in the 12th century, now transformed into a museum and botanical garden, with terraces and views along the lake. Another historic highlight is Castello di Vasio, an ancient fortress overlooking the town, known for its falconry shows and panoramic views. The town's narrow cobbled streets, pastel-colored houses, and picturesque waterfront give Varenna a romantic, timeless feel. Its Lover's Walk, or Passeggiata degli Innamorati, is a lakeside path lined with flowers, perfect for a peaceful stroll. The town's central location also makes it an ideal base to explore the area, with ferry connections across the lake. With these breathtaking views and picturesque villages nestled along the shoreline, it is no wonder that Lake Como is considered a jewel in the heart of Italy's Lombardy region. This magnificent body of water, shaped like an inverted Y, originated way back in prehistoric times, when glaciers carved out this deep basin during the last ice age. As the ice retreated, it left behind what we see today, which is Italy's third largest lake, with depths plunging over 400 meters in some places. The Romans were quick to recognize the strategic importance of this area. In 59 BCE, Julius Caesar himself founded the town of Novum Comum, which we now know simply as Como. This marked the beginning of Lake Como's long history as a center of culture and commerce. As we sail across these crystal-clear waters, we can't help but marvel at the elegant villas that line the shores. These grand estates are seeped with culture and history, having been summer retreats for the wealthy and powerful for centuries. One of the most famous, Villa d'Este, began its life in 1442 as a convent, before being transformed into a Renaissance masterpiece by Cardinal Tolomeo Gallio in the 16th century. Lake Como's beauty has inspired artists and writers throughout history. The great Roman authors Virgil and Pliny the Younger both had villas here. In more recent times, it has become a favorite haunt of celebrities, with George Clooney famously owning a villa on these very shores. But Lake Como isn't just about glamour and history. It's a living, breathing ecosystem. The lake is home to a variety of fish, and fishing has been a way of life here for centuries. Local restaurants still serve traditional dishes, like risotto, con il pesce pasiccio, and misoltini del lago, keeping these culinary traditions alive. The surrounding landscape is a paradise for nature lovers. The foothills of the Italian Alps offer over 250 kilometers of hiking trails, providing breathtaking views of the lake and mountains. And despite the area being known for having the highest rainfall in Italy, even in bad weather, there's always something to do, whether it's exploring museums, shopping for local silk, or simply relaxing in a luxury spa. Popular activities include kayaking, luxury shopping, and exploring gardens. With its unbelievable landscape, it is no wonder that Lake Como has long been a hotspot for celebrities, attracting everyone from musicians to actors and royalty. Outside of George Clooney, who owns the luxurious Villa Oleandra in Laglio, many other stars, such as Madonna, Richard Branson, and Sylvester Stallone, have stayed at Lake Como or own properties here as well. The lake's beauty has made it a filming location for major films like Ocean's 12, Casino Royale, and Star Wars, Episode II. The stunning Villa del Balbionello, featured prominently in both Casino Royale and Star Wars, makes it a top attraction for film enthusiasts. Also, Lake Como's luxurious ambience, combined with its historical allure, has made it a favorite for high-profile weddings. John Legend and Chrissy Teigen held their wedding festivities here, and many elite couples seek out its romantic villas as wedding venues. One interesting fact about the area is that its climate is actually milder than most of northern Italy. This is partly due to the fact that with depths of over 400 meters, the lake is actually Italy's deepest lake, and one of the deepest in Europe, which helps regulate its climate. As such, the area has a mild, Mediterranean feel, and allows Mediterranean plants like olive trees and palms to thrive. This is why the gardens at villas like Villa Melzi and Villa Carlotta are filled with subtropical plants alongside native flora, creating vibrant gardens that bloom nearly year-round. The lake is also famous for its long tradition of silk production, particularly in nearby Como, which has been a center for silk manufacturing since the 1400s. It all started when the Duke of Milan ordered the local population to grow mulberry trees to feed silkworms. The silk industry took off, leading to rapid economic growth in the area. Como became known as the Silk City, and became a leader in silk production for over a century. The silk industry has been an integral part of the local economy ever since that time, and Como is known worldwide for its silk products. Visitors can tour silk museums or buy locally made silk scarves and ties. Today, Como continues to supply high-end silk to luxury brands like Gucci and Hermes. After about 15 to 20 minutes, we started to pull into the port for the village of Menaggio. Menaggio is on the opposite side of the lake from Varenna, on the western shore. It's situated at the mouth of the Menaggio River, with mountains rising behind it. Similar to the other towns in the area, Menaggio has been inhabited since ancient times, with the Romans conquering it in 196 BC. During the Middle Ages, Menaggio was a walled city and remnants of the walls can still be seen today. In the 19th and 20th centuries, it developed as a summer resort destination, with the construction of grand hotels, such as the Grand Hotel Victoria and the Grand Hotel Menaggio. While probably not as popular or touristy as Bellagio and Varenna, Menaggio still attracts numerous tourists, especially during the summer season. There is an elegant lakefront promenade with bars, restaurants and boutiques, and a charming historic center with medieval stepped streets. There are also plenty of outdoor activities available, including hiking trails in the surrounding mountains, and Parco Valsenagra Nature Reserve, and water activities like boating and swimming at Lido di Menaggio. After a brief stop at Menaggio to let passengers on and off, we continued on our journey to Bellagio. This beautiful lake is about a total of 146 square kilometers, or 56 square miles. From top to bottom, it is about 46 kilometers long, or 29 miles, and at its widest point, it is about 4.5 kilometers, or 2.8 miles. The Lake Como area has a resident population of approximately 930,000, with 600,000 in Como province and 330,000 in Lecco province. The region is home to over 70,000 foreign residents, accounting for about 8% of the total population. Tourism plays a significant role in the local economy, with over 7,500 tourist accommodation units available, and over 1.4 million visitors a year. The tourism sector employs almost 30,000 people, representing 10% of the total workforce in the area. Despite its economic benefit, spiking tourism, particularly day trippers who do not stay overnight, are starting to overwhelm the area. The popular Villa del Balbionello, seen in Star Wars and James Bond films, had to limit daily entries in order to protect the historic house. As a result, some towns in Lake Como are evaluating whether or not to implement a day tripper fee, similar to Venice, to curb excessive numbers of tourists. Even these public ferries, operating at maximum capacity during the high season, have reported long queues, forcing some travelers to resort to using rail lines for transport between villages. Even these public ferries, operating at maximum capacity during the high season, have reported long queues, forcing some travelers to resort to using rail lines for transport between villages. Long evolved from the lake's steamship days, today, public transportation is now provided by Navigazione Lago di Como, with various options connecting towns and villages around Lake Como. Its fleet includes over 30 vessels, everything from classic ferries, some even with restaurants on board, to fast catamarans for folks in a hurry, and the Concordia, a vintage steamer from the 1920s. Car ferries only operate in the central lake area. It is operated by Gestione Governativa Navigazione Laghi, a government agency that also manages ferry services on Lake Maggiore and Lake Garda. The service operates year-round, with increased frequency during the peak tourist season from late March to early November. As mentioned, archaeological evidence shows human settlements in the area dating back to prehistoric times. The Goloseca culture, from 9th to 4th century BCE, left significant traces around Como, with findings in the Spina Verde Park showing a proto-historic settlement. Then, during the Roman era, after Julius Caesar founded Novum Comum, today's city of Como, the lake became an important trade route between the Po and Rhine valleys under Emperor Augustus. Notable Roman figures associated with the lake include Pliny the Elder, who was born in Como and became a famous author and naturalist, and Pliny the Younger, who owned 2 villas on the lake shore, named Tragedy and Comedy. In the Middle Ages, the lake region faced invasions by the Goths and Lombards after the fall of the Roman Empire. Then, Como was involved in a 10-year war with Milan from 1118 to 1127, resulting in major destruction. In the following years, Como was rebuilt as part of an alliance with Frederick Barbarossa, the Holy Roman Emperor. In the 14th century, the area came under the control of the Duchy of Milan. Then, Cardinal Tolomeo Gallio commissioned the Villa d'Este in Cernobbio in 1568. And, in the 16th and 17th centuries, noble families began building villas along the lakeshore, including Villa Pliniana and Villa del Grumello. Bellagio became home to several notable villas, showcasing the era's wealth and artistry. Villa Serbelloni, dating back to the late 15th century, was expanded and gained prominence as an estate for Milanese nobility. Additionally, Villa Melzi, famed for its neoclassical design and exquisite gardens, was built in the early 17th century. Bellagio is often referred to as the Pearl of Lake Como, due to its picturesque location, historical significance, and natural beauty. Positioned on a promontory that divides the lake into 2 branches, it offers breathtaking, almost 360-degree views of the surrounding mountains and the serene waters of Lake Como. Historically, Bellagio has been a cultural and artistic hub, attracting writers, poets, and aristocrats. The town's long-standing reputation for exclusivity, combined with its stunning lakeside views and elegant architecture, contributed to the nickname. Its strategic location at the intersection of the lake's 2 branches also adds to its appeal, making it a central point of interest on Lake Como. We spent some time in Bellagio, exploring the village's historic charm. Here, tourists enjoy leisurely walks along the Lungalago Promenade, or explore lush gardens like Villa Melzi. Dining is also a treat, where you can visit a cozy trattoria for some local specialties and traditional dishes. There is plenty of shopping, with luxury boutiques, artisanal crafts, and locally made leather goods. We enjoyed meandering the cobblestone streets and admired the lakeside views. After spending the day in Bellagio, it was time to head back to our home base of Varenna. This time, we were able to get a ferry straight from Bellagio to Varenna. Bellagio was a beautiful town to visit, and its history as a getaway for artists, aristocrats, and writers creates an air of exclusivity and refinement. Notable visitors and residents include Leonardo da Vinci, who reportedly visited the Lake Como area and studied its landscapes, inspiring his art and scientific studies. Franz Liszt, a famous composer, who lived in Bellagio in the mid-1800s with his lover, Marie de Gault, where he composed some of his works. Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom was enchanted by Bellagio, and visited the region during her travels in Italy. Clark Gable, Alfred Hitchcock, and John F. Kennedy are among many Hollywood stars and American icons who were charmed by Bellagio during their visits to Lake Como. And, as mentioned, George Clooney famously bought a villa on Lake Como nearby, bringing modern fame to the area, often drawing other celebrities like Brad Pitt and Matt Damon to the region. The peak season for Lake Como is from late spring to early fall, May to September, when the weather is warm and the lake's beauty is in full bloom. However, visiting in the quieter seasons, such as late fall or early spring, can offer a more tranquil experience with fewer crowds. Lake Como has also become synonymous with luxury tourism. Elegant hotels like Grand Hotel Tramezzo and Villa d'Este offer opulent accommodations and lakefront views, drawing a clientele that includes the global elite. However, there are also charming, affordable accommodations in local bed and breakfasts, as well as smaller hotels. If you really want to explore the lake and all of its towns, we would recommend staying at least 4 days. Then, as mentioned, an alternative to the public ferries we are on now, you can book a more exclusive boat tour to maximize your time there. Private boat tours are ideal for those looking for a more personalized experience. Private operators offer small group or custom charters with various themes, including romantic sunset cruises, historical villa tours, and guided experiences with knowledgeable skippers. Outside of the activities and attractions we mentioned during this ferry tour, there are many other things that visitors can enjoy doing at the lake. You can take the funicular from Como to Brunate for panoramic views of the lake and surrounding area. There are several viewpoints to explore once you reach the top. Many visit Villa Carlotta in Tramezzo. This villa is famous for its beautiful botanical gardens and art collection. You can wander through the streets of Como's historic center, visiting landmarks like the Duomo, the cathedral, Broletto, the old town hall, and various churches. For the outdoor enthusiast, many enjoy hiking the Greenway del Lago di Como. This 10-kilometer trail takes you through charming villages, olive groves, and offers stunning lake views. Also, the Orrido di Bellano is a natural gorge in the town of Bellano, featuring footbridges, caves, and waterfalls. Finally, Castello di Vezio is a 12th-century castle above the village of Varenna that offers great views and interesting attractions, including falconry displays and mysterious ghost sculptures. As we near the port of Varenna, we admire the prominent spire visible over the village. That is the Church of San Giorgio, whose distinctive bell tower rises above the town and is a defining feature of its skyline. The church is open to the public and is a popular spot for visitors interested in history and architecture. The interior contains beautiful medieval frescoes and a peaceful atmosphere that gives insight into the village's rich cultural and religious heritage. Also, as we get nearer to the town, you can see people walking along the Passeggiata degli Innamorati, or Lovers' Walk. This picturesque path hugs the shoreline of Lake Como, connecting the harbor area with the town center. The walkway is lined with railings and adorned with flowers and greenery, creating a romantic setting with beautiful views of the lake and surrounding mountains. You get a really beautiful view of this wonderful town from this vantage point. And with that, we complete our tour. We hope you have found this video informative. As you can see, Lake Como's allure is deeply rooted in its blend of natural beauty, historical depth, and cultural significance. As you journey across its waters, whether on a public ferry or a private tour, you encounter landscapes and historic villages that have inspired poets, artists, and visitors for centuries. Thanks for watching. Please like, follow, and subscribe.